new products, processes, and systems that could benefit of both organization and stakeholders by leaving no one behind, aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals SDG aspiration. So in addition to that, Living Labs are deemed to befit a sustainability agenda and EcoCampus blueprint, or in short, we call it as a UMECB aspirations, which was primarily coordinated by the SASAI Research Cluster. So all in all, it is a one-step experiment which combined two main components, namely research and sustainable campus transformation plan. So Living Lab is introduced to support the aspiration of to be among the leading eco-campus while promoting the participation of the entire campus, a rarely visible trait in other research grant or program. So it is hoped that through transactional research of Living Labs, our researchers may contribute to the realization of the EcoCampus blueprint and subsequently to advance sustainability issues within the campus. So that is quite a brief introduction of the Living Labs. So without further ado, I would like to invite the chairperson of the UMSLLS, which is Professor Sumiani Yusuf, for the welcome remark. Please.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chairperson, Dr. Azizi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, everyone. To our Living Lab researchers who are going to be our speakers this morning, community, our staffs and students, and all our audience, both local and international. Thank you so much for making time to attend our webinar. I hope all of you are keeping safe during this CMCO. And on behalf of Universiti Malaya and the Sustainability and Living Lab Secretariat, I'm pleased to welcome you to our Sustainability webinar, which is a special webinar series on CMCO, Sustainability Tips by Living Lab experts. This is part of a series of our online engagement platform on sustainability for campus community and beyond, be it local, regional, and international audience. And for your information, the webinar series aims at providing an informative, engaging session on various spectrums on sustainability and also to a larger audience. And we hope that in this virtual setting, I've been informed that most of you here are our loyal audience, all the way from our inaugural series launch in June 2020. Thank you for your commitment, and I'm sure you are all people who cares about the environment and sustainability, being the loyal audience of our webinar series. And I think this webinar is part of our new normal or new way to embrace the condition that we are facing now, in providing a sustainability platform to reach out to our audience who came from various background, countries, beyond religion and ethnicities. So I welcome all of you. And dear all, ladies and gentlemen, we all understand the importance of sustainability in our day-to-day lives and the ways in which we are transforming the world today. If this was not clear earlier, it is blindingly obvious now, I think, in time of the COVID-19 pandemic, where sustainability and sustainable development are indispensable tools for our response and to the recovery from this crisis. And equally important is our collaboration in this effort. So our experience in Universiti Malaya by introducing the Living Lab Action Research Program in 2017 is aligned with our in-house EcoCampus blueprint and sustainable development goals. It has convinced us that it's only through multi-stakeholder and strategic partnership that we can truly accelerate progress and address all the impending challenges. Yet, while critically important, sustainability at the institutional level must be collaborated with stakeholders, and we have to actually effectively meet all the SDGs deadlines which are encroaching on us, whether we realize it or not, because we are now left with less than 10 years to address all the 17 SDG goals. So, ladies and gentlemen, hence the topic of this special series that will wrap up our sustainability webinar for year 2020 will focus on the imperative role of each and every one of us, be it the practitioner, the doer, the ambassador, the torchbearer and champion of sustainability agenda, so that we can actually work together and ensure that we put forward this important agenda. In this context, this webinar highlights, firstly, the important role of individual in making the eco-sustainability shift in their day-to-day business. Number two, to collectively take effort in tackling and addressing unsustainable habits at micro level. And number three, sustainability shift should start with us, our family, and our local community. So we believe that this is an important agenda that is often neglected. And to all our Living Lab colleagues who will be sharing your sustainability tips, your inputs are very much appreciated. And with the spirit of leaving no one behind, I believe that by participating in this webinar, we are in the right place and in the right time with the great people with minds alike. Together, let us celebrate the exchange of ideas and scaling up of good sustainability practices. Remember, changes starts with all of us, our family and our community. So I'm very confident that you will find new ideas, fresh energy and partnership to sustain your efforts in support of the SDGs and also eventually recovery from COVID-19. Through sustainability practices, be it physically, mentally or spiritually, inshallah. I wish you all a very successful webinar, and this sustainability webinar series will be back in 2021, inshallah. Allow me to end my speech with a quote. None of us, including me, ever do great things, but we all can do small things with great love, and together we can do something wonderful. That was quoted by Mother Teresa. With that, thank you so much for your kind attendance and attention, and I hand over the webinar back to our moderator, Dr. Azizi.
Thank you, Professor Maini, for the welcome remark. Okay, I would like to reiterate back the questions in the poster for this special webinar series about have you ever wondered? Question number one, why your utility water and electricity monthly bills spike? What should I do with them? Question number two, what type of plants are more suitable for backyard gardening? Indoor plants, what should I do with dry leaves from my garden? And then question number three, what should I do with the food waste from my kitchen? Where will my domestic waste go? What is the best way to continuously promote eco-sustainability practices from Islamic point of view, especially in the time of CMCO? And I have many leftover medicines for myself and parents. What should I do with them? Another question is how about to shop sustainably and responsibly? And the last one but not least is how best should I transit from one place to another by reducing my individual carbon footprint? So are these questions pondering in your mind during the CMCO or even before the MCO? So if yes, then this UMSLLS Sustainability webinar special series is hopefully the best for you to watch and get involved. So this webinar will be held for 1 hour engagement. So with our 8 Living Lab experts, on which each speaker will share with you sustainability handy tips in 5 minutes time, and will hopefully provide some answers to these questions. So the webinar also provides a 30 minutes engagement with our speakers for all participants during the Q&A session after the presentation. So without further ado, I would like to invite the first speaker, which is the first core area presented for today is in the core area of waste management, which is Prof. Miani Yusuf. Before that, I would like to introduce the project of the LL of this in core area of waste management. Okay, the title of the project is Zero Waste Campaign toward an integrated solid waste management. And the summary of it is UMZWC is one of the Living Lab's pioneer projects started in 2010, an initiative to develop policy and innovation system in order to divert solid waste from disposal in landfill for resource and energy recovery, create awareness and inculcate best practice of waste separation and source among the campus communities to increase recycling rate and form many partnerships with various stakeholders. But for today, Prof. Yusuf will present tips on sustainable waste management and circular economy, which is quote unquote under urban farming. So please welcome, Prof.
Thank you so much, Dr. Azizi. I know I don't have much time, but I'll try to be as prudent in time management, and hopefully all of us could benefit with some of the things that we do in Zero Waste Campaign project. So let me share my slides, and please forgive me if I go a little bit beyond time, Mr. Chairman. So okay, what we're going to share with you today is tips on sustainable waste management and circular economy, which is urban farming. And this is actually a project by our Zero Waste campaign, or UMZWC in short. So a quick introduction for those of you who are not familiar. We Malaysians are a very wasteful society. Every day we produce or generate 38,000 tons of waste, and out of this, half of the waste are basically food waste. So more so now during CMCO, I'm sure that we are eating a lot because we're staying at home, and this is actually very sad, because if you look at the food waste that we actually produce or throw out that goes into our landfill site, more than 3,000 tons of that waste, of that 50% of food waste, basically are still good food which can actually be eaten and be fed to 2.2 million people. So this is a stark reality. And not only we waste food, we cause pollution because it's all dumped into the landfill site, and it is also translated into wasting of money. So basically we calculated more than, you almost waste 3 million ringgit a year with throwing out of your food waste. So it goes without saying, all the negative impacts related to unsustainable waste management, like what's happening now. There's economic impacts because, you know, there's a lot of transportation costs to send to landfill site. There'll be health impacts and so on. There's also, of course, environmental impacts, pollution, clogging your waterways, not only that, climate change, because all the organic food waste that you send to landfill sites are actually emitting greenhouse gas. Of course, also health problems. So we need to actually embrace sustainable waste management. What does it mean? The meaning of sustainable waste management is to ensure that we reduce the amount of natural resources that is consumed, confirm any materials that are taken from nature are reused as many times as possible, and that waste created is kept to a minimum. So if you look at the bar and the diagram, the first tier or most preferred is always prevention, then reduction, recycling, recovery, and only finally disposal. If you do all this, at least we know that we are minimally sending our waste to landfill sites, which is causing a lot of environmental destruction. So what could you do as consumers? Please separate your waste at source. Besides preventing and trying not to use too much or consume too much, please separate your waste at source and try to do recycling and send your recycling materials for reuse. Okay? And the food waste that you produce, please don't put it out. Take it aside and do composting. It's very simple, because as you know, if you separate waste, what's going to happen is you are going to actually not just save the environment, you are putting value and creating security. Because all the separated waste are actually precious resource. The food waste can be turned into compost, the other plastic, paper, aluminium cans, everything, your old clothes, old materials are all useful resources. But if you mix them, that's what's happening in Malaysia. It's very common, you see commingle waste. Commingle waste means no value, only pollution, because everything goes to landfill site and it causes pollution and health and economic plus social impact. So sustainable waste management not only is important for our well-being and the environment, but it also creates circular economy, because this is what we are gaining and we are actually trying to impress people and trying to promote. If you actually do separation at source and you do reuse, you do recycling, upcycling, you could actually create a circular economy, and you could actually improve, the environmental performance while making good of your waste, rather than just putting it back to the environment and causing a lot of pollution. So our zero waste campaign, we have started right from 2009 from a student project those days when I was teaching in the environmental engineering students, and we have had many projects along the years, starting with our separation at source, green bag scheme, where we actually separate our food waste, and then we install an anaerobic digester, We also have a textile recycling bin in campus. We have 3R on wheels. And we have Takakura composting, where we actually convert our food waste with our green waste to create our own compost, which is sold and it's an income generation. And on top of that, we use our compost for organic farming. So if you look at the overall achievement, we not only divert more than 1,000 tons of waste from going to landfill site, but we have cost the university almost 400,000 saving. We have created income more than 100 over 1,000. And the best is we have actually diverted more than 5,000 tons of CO2 equivalent. So this is actually one of the impetus that creates climate change and global warming. So with that effort and with that initiative, we have not only promoted circular economy, but we have also saved the environment and create income to University Malaya. So how to manage your waste sustainably? All you need to do is please separate them at source, cultivate the habit of recycling, and donate things that you don't need, or you can also sell your recyclables and you can also upcycle your waste to make it into some other useful product. Things like plastic. As you know, during CMCO, a lot of us buy in online shopping, so there'll be more and more plastics entering the waste stream. Please try to avoid excessive packaging, bring your own eco bags. So these are, I think, not the norms. Yeah, and if you have reduced residues of food waste or your leftovers, please put them aside and turn them into compost, because you know food waste makes fabulous compost. It's so good for the earth and the soil and the environment. And not only that, like in we actually produce our compost, which is a brand by itself, and we have actually sold more than about 40,000 worth of compost, which goes into our bursaries fund. Yeah, and what you need to do is just learn simple tips of how to do composting. If you're not sure, you can always Google, and it's all there in the platform. Yeah, but if you really want to actually go through a formal training, we in under the UMSLLS and Sustainability Secretariat, we do training sessions, yeah, for the communities, for public. So if you are interested to learn how to actually do composting and hands-on, hopefully once the CMCO is over, you can contact us and we can actually do a hands-on training for you to actually create your compost. And you can actually do it very easily. And if you want to add on better fermentation and better composting quality, you can actually produce this solution, where we can actually show you how you actually mix some leftover food or some ingredients that you can actually develop effective microorganisms which will enhance the performance of your compost. And with that compost, you can add on and you can start your urban farming. Please do, because it's very simple, and you can actually not only save your economic cost of purchasing your vegetable, but you grow your own organic vegetable, which is so healthy. And that's what we're doing in And on top of that, you are actually reducing carbon. So it is very important to understand that if you practice sustainable waste management, separation at source, and circular economy, you are going to actually reduce tremendously carbon dioxide and methane emission, which are actually greenhouse gas. And this greenhouse gas, if you were to convert them into the amount of CO2 that we actually divert from the food waste that we Malaysians produce, we can actually save more than almost 2,000 trees per day. Can you imagine that? You might not see it visually, but that's what happens if you actually practice sustainable waste management and also separation itself. So in conclusion, there are lots of ways to improve sustainable and to practice sustainable waste management. But typically, I think the hierarchy, as I mentioned, the best is prevent, reduce, recycle, recover. Only the last resort go for disposal. Okay, so remember, whatever you don't need, don't use. Don't use excessively. Think of the repercussion of your consumption pattern. So it is important to practice sustainable waste management, because it not only helps reduce and negative impacts to the environment, but it is also giving you so much other benefits, including human health, and at the end of the day, to me, the well-being of our society and our nation. Thank you so much for your kind attention. I know that we have very limited time, but inshallah, if you have any questions, you are free to ask during the Q&A session. Thank you so much. I hand over back to Dr. Azizi.
Thank you, Prof. Sumiani, for the first presentation. So now we move on to the second presenter, which is Associate Professor Dr. Zida Fatima Muhammad. So the LL research grant names Water Warriors Integrated Water Management. So this is a summary for the project. Water Warriors also one of the Living Labs pioneer projects that focus mainly on water management within campus. So this project aims to experiment with the development of the Water Warriors as an independent university-linked entity, university-based NGO or social enterprise, which serve the university but also conduct income generation activities through educational and tourism activities, consultancy and active seeking of external grants. So this project also intend to enhance pilot projects from phase 1 until phase 4 for both conservation of water bodies and reduction of water consumption, while integrate Water Warriors activities into long-term projects under university planning. But for today, the presentation will be entitled How to be a Water Warriors at Home During CMCO. So please welcome Dr. Zida.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Azizi. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
All right. Hi, Assalamualaikum, and a very good morning, everyone. Okay, greetings from Water Warriors. Since we do not have much time, so let's go straight to the tips on how to be water warriors at home during CMCO. Our first main tip is let us all aspire to be wise water users. How to be wise? First, use water efficiently. How to do this? Some tips. 1, shorten your showers and washing. The shorter the time, the more efficient you are in using water for cleanliness. If you tend to sing in the shower, just choose a short song. 2, if you love to do gardening, improve your irrigation systems, add compost and mulch on your plants to preserve water at the roots and prevent evaporation. During the CMCO, we don't have to rush for work, so water your plants in the morning to reduce evaporation too. 3, another area that causes a lot of wastage is when we run our water wastefully when using the taps, be it when we are brushing our teeth or for the Muslims when we are taking ablution. So if you can, don't let the water run too long and too fast. As the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would say, peace be upon him, save water even when you were on the banks of a flowing river. 4, one area which we often procrastinate, I'm guilty of this as well, is to make sure we fix any leakages as soon as they are discovered. Also, remember to remind each other, especially members of your households, to stop the drip. Always check again that your taps are tightly closed after use. Another way of proactively being a wise water user is to invest on water efficient products, not only to reduce your water use, but also to reduce your water bill. SPAN has recognized water efficient products from the eco-label scheme called Produk Cekap Air, so choose to purchase and use those products. In addition, even Water Warriors have produced our own product Cekap Air in the form of Mr. Timble. You can buy Mr. Timble from Water Warriors for just RM3 each. So if you're interested, let us know. Our second tip for being a wise water user is to harvest and recycle your water. Rainwater is a free source of water, so take efforts to capture this wonderful free water source. This can be as simple as putting a bucket outside when it is raining. Kalau orang dulu dia mandi hujan terus saja, ataupun tak ada air guna tempayan like the picture of the kid here, yeah. Or you can purchase a rainwater harvester. In UM, you can see two versions available on campus. One is the simpler and cheaper version where you only collect water but can be effectively used as there is a pump, or the more expensive and sophisticated version that is additionally equipped with water filter and purifier. So buy what you can afford. Other than harvesting water, you can also recycle water. Some simple ideas is to collect bath water using a basin and using them for flushing, or my mother always used this, using the water that we have used for cleaning vegetables or rice to water our plants. A special message for the citizens of UM campus, take note that the campus actually have 58 rainwater tanks at 21 locations, which covers almost all of the residential colleges. Unfortunately, the level of usage is quite low at the moment, even as we invest in the technology. So please support the university's water conservation efforts by making full use of our rainwater harvesters. Finally, to be wise, let us keep track of our water usage so we can know where we can do better. In Malaysia, especially us in Klang Valley and Lembah Pantai, we have a higher average water use compared to our Singaporean neighbours and our friends in the UK. The government is aiming to reduce our average water use to 100 litre per capita per day. So let's do our part to achieve that aim. Okay. So we have talked about how to use to be a wise water user, but other than being a wise water user, let's not forget that we also need to be a good water steward to take care of our water sources. It needs to be remembered, which we always forget, that most water supply in Malaysia are taken from our rivers that flows from the hills and catchment areas before it is being captured for water supply by Air Selangor and Span. So at our level, we need to do what we can to take care of the rivers nearest to us. Hence, it is important for us to know our river address. Why is this essential? Because once we know our river address, we will be able to monitor that the wastewater that comes from our own household or from our campus does not end up contaminating the river bodies near to us. Remember that the water that flows in our longkang will often end up to our rivers. So for example, in the campus of Universiti of Malaya, what is our river address? Remember this answer. It is two river tributaries, Sungai Pantai and Sungai Anak Air Batu, which will eventually flows to the main Klang River. So as a campus community, let's work together to take care of this stretch of rivers in our own backyard. In short, jom sama-sama jaga dan bersihkan longkang dan sungai kita. Imagine if all of us do our part as responsible stewards of our rivers, be it when we are at home or at work, much of the water pollution problems that we are facing today can be overcome. Also, we have a lot of young audience today. Let's use our social media platforms constructively to share this message and knowledge to others. In my experience, it is only when we inspire others that we stay inspired. In facing this challenging period of COVID-19 pandemic, it is essential as a community untuk kita jaga kita. And one of the ways to do that is kita sama-sama jaga air. Yeah? Finally, I would like to end this presentation with this saying that our cause is the strongest when we are united. So do join us in this effort to be wiser water stewards. If you are interested, you can join like-minded groups like Water Warriors in UM. We will post the link in the chat later, or River Rangers under the River of Life program for Sungai Klang, and Friends of Rivers that are mushrooming all around Malaysia nowadays. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Associate Professor Dr. Zida Fatima. So our next presenter is Dr. Sarah Abdul Razak. So the LL project title is the RIMBA Project 2.0 Climate Change Mitigation through Carbon Sequestration. Okay, so a project summary is a new Living Lab project that aims to measure sequestration rate and above ground biomass carbon potential of forests and solids in Rimba Ilmu in order to support nature education and outreach of Rimba Ilmu. And for today's presentation, Dr. Sarah Abdul Razak will present to us presentation entitled Easy Sustainable Gardening Tips. Please welcome Dr. Sarah.
Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum and good morning. I'm Dr. Sarah and I'm going to share some easy, simple and doable biodiversity and landscape tips during CMCO. Next slide please. Sustainability. When we talk about sustainability in terms of biodiversity, the simplest meaning is living in harmony with nature. So here it is, the 4 easy sustainable gardening tips that I would like to share with everyone today. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So usually the first thing that comes into our mind when we talk about gardening or planting or even landscaping is what type of plants should we use? There are many types of plants that we can choose from. For example, ornamental plants, shrubs, climbers and creepers, or even big trees. But one of the most important things is to make sure that the plant is a local species. Local species is defined as a species which occurs in a particular region or ecosystem. But why? Why should we choose local species? Because local species are adapted to the local climate. For example, we have a very hot and humid tropical climate. And also besides that, most likely these local species have natural defenses against local pests too, and which can lead them to grow efficiently and thrive better in an environment. And because of this, we can avoid in using the harmful fertilizers, the pesticides, and other chemical additives when we grow them. And as you can see, as shown on the slides, are the examples of 5 local species that can be found in Malaysia. For example, we can see the gorgeous orchids, the bougainvillea, or in Malay words we call it bunga kertas, that can burst into blooms beautifully in hot and sunny weather, and our very own national flower, which is the hibiscus, and coconuts. The plants near the window, the small one, is actually a small coconut tree. People are nuts about coconuts, and it is also known as a tree of life. And also not to forget our banana tree. And all these examples of local species can be planted both indoor and outdoor at your home by making sure that they get enough water and enough sunlight. And Malaysia has lots and lots of local plants that might suit your interests and needs. Next slide, please. The next sustainable gardening tips is by harvesting a healthy soil. We need to know that plants and soil are very much related to each other. To have a healthy growing plants, we need to have a healthy soil too. And the hot tropical climate of our country contributes to the high temperature of the soil. And also we have a high volume of rainfall that we receive yearly. They washes away nutrients quickly from the soil. So what should we do about this matter? By using dried leaves as a mulch. Mulch or mulching, meaning covering the soil with dried leaves around the plants. So by layering the dried leaves over your soil can improve the soil structure, can maintain the moisture and nutrient, and also can help lessen the growth of the weed, which in the end can lead to a healthy growing plant. Next slide, please. And next is to find creative ways to reuse resources. consider recycling in your garden instead of always buying new things. For example, using biodegradable pots, like the two that I've shown here, which is the coconut shell, and also the cardboard toilet rolls to replace the plastic pots. Next slide, please. And lastly is save rainwater. We try to collect as much rainwater as we can, as simple as by using buckets to water the plants, because catching and using rainwater is an inexpensive way to conserve water and also for watering the plants. Next slide, please. So last but not least, all these simple, easy, and doable gardening tips should be able to encourage us to give back to our Mother Earth instead of just taking from it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sarah. So now we move on to Dr. Asmawati Muhammad. The project title is Transforming the Role of Surau Apium for Campus Sustainability through Imara Green Project. And the project summary, an initiative of implementing of eco-malls program at UM, and currently working on expanding this initiative to selected mosques in Wilayah Persekutuan, inculcate sustainability awareness and eco-surau activisms, and promoting Lestari shop services for communal benefits of UM. And for today, presentation by Dr. Asmawati will be entitled Imara Green Project Eco-Surau Best Practice Lestari Shop. Please welcome Dr. Asmawati. Dr. Asmawati, is the voice is okay?
Sorry, Dr. Asmawati. Can you please switch on your mic?
Oh, okay, okay. All right, all right. So I start all again, sharing the slides. Okay. So for today, I would like to share about best practice from Lestari Shop, especially about the 3R campaigns. And when we see this picture, I think this is the time for us to carefully think and mindfully aware that we have already put a lot of burden on environment with the fashion persuasion in the nowadays industry. As consumers worldwide buy more clothes, the growing market for the cheap clothes and new style is taking a toll on the environment, and fashion industry makes up 10% of humanity's carbon emissions, dries up water sources, and also the rivers and streams. Globally, from the statistics, we can see that 80% of the discarded textiles are doomed or end to the landfill or incineration. Only 20% are actually reused or recycled. And how about scenario in Malaysia? It is also worst condition. According to the STAR, in 2019, Malaysians have dumped
blowing tons of fabric waste last year is about 195,300 tons of fabric waste, with an expert saying that the bulk of them actually could have been recycled. And for everyday use, a Malaysian produce 0.9 kilogram of solid public waste of textiles or fabric such as clothes, shoes, belts, handbags, etc., which contributes to 2 to 4% of the solid waste production composition in Malaysia. So we can see that how much effect the fashion production makes up to the consequence of environmental pollution. Okay, what's more, washing some types of clothes sends thousands of bits of microplastic into the ocean. And these are all evidence that waste is at the very heart of fashion. So that's why we need to be very mindful of this issue and be a prudent and also cautious person to spend our money with regard to fashion. Okay. Anyway, okay, I have problem with the cursor. What can we do with our unworn textiles? Lots of our dress, our t-shirts still in wardrobe and looks like new clothes. Is it a good choice or right choice to simply throw the old clothes into a bin? I think this is not the best option that we should do. In Lestari Shop, we provide solutions, and the first that we would like to ask our fellow friends is to donate your unworn clothes to Lestari Shops. Because in Lestari Shop, we, with the helps of Imarah Eco Friends, we carefully sort it out for second-hand shopper through green sale or eco-free market. We will give free, that means donation to the needy people to have the pre-loved items from Lestari Shop. And second thing, Lestari Shop also offers dispose the old clothes properly. That means if the received items from the community that we receive are in poor condition, those stained, torn, or otherwise unwearable textiles, we will send it to the white box, to the clothing recycling center. And number three, we also in the Lestari Shop use the fabric for upcycling activities. For example, students of Imarah Eco Friends do repurpose the clothes, for example, patchwork for tablecloths. And number four, this is the very important thing for us to do on individual basis, is to buy less. Buy only things or clothes that we really need. So I think it is time for us to really consider to reduce, reuse, and recycling. Okay, and today with the threats of climate change and global warming, I think as a Muslim we should relook and turn back to the core teachings of religious values itself. And as for Muslim, we should reflect on the Quran and Sunnah teachings, because Prophet Muhammad SAW had emphasized to us with many instances on collective duty towards our environment. Okay, for example, in this hadith from Aisha radiallahu anha, she was asked by a companion about what is the routine of the Prophet at home. Okay, when asked about this question, Aisha said to the companion that Nabi SAW used to stitch his garments, repair his shoes, and work as other men in their houses. Okay, this hadith can be found in the success of our Prophet, that he himself showed the best example of how to consider reuse the clothes and still fixing the items before thinking of buying new items. Okay, and the second hadith that I would like to share today is about the advocation or encouragement for us to give sadaqah or to do charity for our community. Okay, in this hadith, I would like to read this hadith. Perhaps we can get more understanding. In this hadith, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu wears a new dress, and when he wears the new dress, he recite a dua. Alhamdulillahilladzi kasani ma'awari bihi awrati wa atajammalu bihi fi hayati. Summa amada ila thawbi alladhi aslaqa fatasaddaqa bihi. Thumma qala sami'tu Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam yaqul man labisa thawban jadidan faqala alhamdulillahilladzi kasani ma'awari bihi awrati wa atajammalu bihi fi hayati. In this narration, the Sahabah, that is Abu Umamah, who transmitted the hadith to At-Tirmizi, narrates the story of Umar ibn al-Khattab. When he wants to wear a new garment, he recites the dua. First is to recite the dua to praise Allah, who has give him a new clothes that conceal his aurah. And then Umar ibn al-Khattab tell the Sahaba, that is Abu Umamah, this dua was taught by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also, what about the old garment, the old garment that have been worn out? In this hadith, Umar ibn al-Khattab described that the old one was given for charity. And what is the reward? As mentioned by the Prophet Muhammad, the one who gives charity, one out gets a lot of rewards. First, the reward is for those who give sadaqah, kana fillah. Kana fillah means kanafi in English term is also canopy, right? Macam kemah. And kanafi means shelter, perlindungan. And then wafi hifzillah. The second reward for those who give sadaqah is to get protection from Allah, and wafi sitrillahi hayyan wa maitan. The third reward that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam emphasis in this hadith is that the person who gives sadaqah will in his life or after he was dead. So this is the best three rewards that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell the Sahaba Umar ibn al-Khattab. If a Muslim gives sadaqah to the Nabi, he will get three rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, now we see what the best practice or solutions that we provide for community from Lestari Shop with regard to reduce, reuse, and recycle the textile. Okay, in fact, Lestari Shop is a collection center for pre-loved items that we dedicate this premise to distribute sadaqah, infaq, donation, or recycling charity for our community. And this premise is located at the...
Sorry, Dr. Asmawati. I think we can you please wrap up this session, because we already time's up.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. So from Lestari Shop, we have 3 activities. First, green sale that we resell pre-love with love price. And second activity is eco-free market. We donate the items to the needy. And the third one is recycled through white box. And we send it to, that later on will be sent to the textile recycler, Lifeline Clothing Malaysia. Okay, so to wrap up this presentation, I would like to ask all of our campus community to really think twice of not simply throw our old clothes or fabrics away, because we have best solutions in Lestari Shop. You can help us together to distribute the pre-love items to the community or individuals who really in need of these items, especially if you can see in this table, some of the receivers comes from the anak-anak Rohingya and also orang asli and in academic community campus to come and stop by at Lestari Shop. Don't throw your fabric, but let's give it for donation to our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Asmawati. So now we move on to the next presenter, which is the core area of the green procurement. This presentation will be presented by Associate Professor Dr. Liana Muhammad Shuaim. So her research title is Green Procurement for Food Premises. And the research project summary is this project aims to investigate the state of art of green components in food premises procurement in identify the best practices and procedures for the adoption of green procurement for food premises, and develop a green procurement procedures and guidelines for food premises. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Liana. Dr. Diana, please turn on the microphone.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Azizi. Assalamualaikum and good morning. Okay, my name is Liana Shuaib from FSKT MUM. Can you see my slide? Yeah, I think can. Okay, today I'm giving a topic about sustainable shopping tips. So let's go through it. Okay. Okay, the first one is actually reduce waste, as presented by Prof. Supiani before. So this is the when we say about green, sustainable, so this is the most related one lah. So the easiest things to do, and bring your own bag, bring your reusable shopping bag. So when we buy something, we don't have to use a plastic bag. And also if you plan to buy some food, you plan to tapao something, so just bring your own containers, so you can use your own containers. Next tips is shop local. Oh yeah, also regarding the reduce waste, is also related with no single use campaign, aligned with Malaysia's roadmap towards zero single use plastic. Okay, next is shop local. Okay, shop local means buy local or buy seasonal produce. So it means that less transportation, which means fewer preservatives to keep them fresh on the journey. So this actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So instead of go to supermarket, to buy fresh food, to buy fresh fruit means you can go to like pasar pagi, pasar malam. Okay. Next is buy recycled products. You can consider buy recycled products, pre-loved products, vintage products, and also wooden products. This is more sustainable. And then when you want to buy something, try to buy products with minimal packaging and have recycled trademark on packaging. Next is energy efficiency. So I believe most of you familiar with this label. So this is actually energy efficient rating certified by Energy Commission of Malaysia. This is based on a star rating system, 5 star. So 5 star means the most efficient. So when you want to buy your electric item, try to buy electric items that have the most energy and water efficiency that you can afford. So examples of electric items are like air conditioner, refrigerator, lamps, television, washing machine, microwave oven. So in Malaysia, we use this label. So when you want to buy your electric item, so try to find the best out, 5, 4. Okay. Next one is read the labels and know the materials. Okay. When you buy clothes, I think this is touched by the previous presenter. Read the labels. Try to find sustainable fiber like silk, linen, wool, and organic cotton. Try to avoid like polyester or synthetic fibers, acrylic, viscose rayon. Okay. And also when you buy plastic item, also find sustainable plastic like HDPE and PETE products. You can see this is the label from PET and HDPE. Okay, next is eco-label goods. Okay, in Malaysia actually we have My Hijau. This is the link, and this is you can download the My Hijau apps. Okay, My Hijau is to promote the sourcing and purchasing of green products and services in Malaysia. It uniting all the green certification under single label lah, under the My Hijau. You can go to the website or even the apps. As to date, there are 6,607 products and services and 441 companies registered under My Hijau. So you can go through the website lah to see the listed products and services. Okay, next is to promote health. So try to eat more organic foods, take less meat, and then eat healthy food that have fewer pesticides, chemical, additive, and preservative. Okay. Next is to shop online. I think this is what we do now. Yeah, it's 24 hours a day. You can shop at 3 a.m. Especially in PKPB now. Most of us do shop online. So shop online means you drive less. Or other alternative is you can use public transport. Another good way to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And also you can buy in bulk. For example, the item that you know you need to use it a lot, so you can buy in bulk. For example, like last sale 11/11, this coming 6/12. For me, my kids we use a lot of diapers, milk, I don't know, shampoo. So when we buy all those things, we buy in bulk. Okay. Okay. Last but not least, the last one, the easiest advice but the toughest things to do actually is to buy less lah. Okay. Think before you buy. I mean, if you want to buy something, do think. I mean, do you really need this item, or you just want to match the colors with your existing to-do or whatever? Okay. Buy less is the easiest way lah for sustainable shopping. Okay, and also do resell and donate items. You can check the Restari shop from the previous presenter. It's a good way lah. I mean, instead of you just throw the items or store at your house, like, I don't know, museum or so what, you can resell and donate the items. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Liana Shuaib. So now we move on to our next presenter, which is Associate Professor Dr. Rafidah Muhammad Noor. Her Living Lab project entitled IoT Internet of Things, Monitoring and Management System on Campus Sustainable Transportation. Okay, and then there's a brief project summary. The objective of this project are mainly to develop a real-time mobile apps for the carpooling system within UM campus and develop a web interface to stakeholders for monitoring of the overall carpooling systems. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Rafidah.
Thank you, Dr. Azizi. Assalamualaikum and very good morning, everyone. You can see my slide, right? Okay, my name is Rafidah. I'm from Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. I would like to share about good practices, sustainable transport and mobility. Before I share some good practices about transportation and mobility from one destination to another, I would like to share a project under UM Living Lab that we have developed for Universiti of Malaya, which is, we call it as UM Share Ride. The idea is to drive less around UM campus, and we want any organizer, meeting organizer or event organizer to use this system as a platform for the committee members to move around UM campus, where the event organizer will register and also to create an event or meetings and send the invitation to the committee members by using these invitation modules. And as a user, as a committee members, you can download this UM Share Ride from Google Play Store. We develop first stage is by using the Android platform, where you will identify the meeting that you have been invited, and you can offer your ride, your vehicles with your among the committee members. Or you can also share ride, meaning that you want to hop on into your friends' vehicles. So we can use this to make sure that everyone is sharing the vehicles and less vehicle travel around UM. So in this application, the user can always monitor and see where the driver come from. It's similar like you using Grabs or you use Uber. So at the end, if you are using this UM Share Ride, you will get a rewards for each of the PTJ or center. So that's the initiative made by UM Eco Campus Sustainability, that we want to encourage people to drive less by using their own private vehicles. So look at the challenges faced in Malaysia related to transportation. We know that every day, everywhere we go is congested, and we can see that the mobility trends since 1990 until the next 10 years, 2030, the number of person travel daily increased to 131 million per day. Okay, this increased the line with GDP, and you can also see that increased number of motor vehicles on the road to 2030 is 331 million, which is increased from now 1.4 times increase. And also travel time to this year compared to 2019, the data is from 2019, is 150 minutes when you travel around Greater Kuala Lumpur. And the highest contribution to the population in the world, I would say, is the transportation, which is contributed to 67% air pollution because of the motor vehicles. So looks this a statistic, and how can we make change? Okay, so when we talk about to reduce carbon footprint, not using vehicle or drive less, what if we want to walk? Okay, this is more to the individual roles, how you want to contribute to the eco-friendly world, you know. So if you are moving from one point, one destination to another, in the very short trips, why not walk? For example, in around campus, we have a lot of walkability. And if you are from Faculty of Science, you want to go to, they want to go Chancellor or Chancellery building, why not start this initiative by walking from one point to another. But and also this is not only to reduce the CO2 emission, but it's help to lessen the traffic congestion, not so much in UM, but during the peak hours in the morning and in the evening, you can see more cars around UM, and also to reduce the cramp of the parking space in UM. So now let's look at if you want to go very in a short distance, okay, from less than 5 kilometers. By using car, why not we swap for bicycle? Now you can see that there is a current trend, right? On the Facebook, on the Instagram, people are sharing bicycle ride, okay, in the evening or in the morning. So why not we opt for bicycles? And of course, this is environmentally is good, okay, and in terms of cost, less fuel, you are not going to pay for fuel or petrol. Healthy, yes, because you use all your cardio, you need to ride, right? And definitely enjoyable if you ride together, but you need to follow this the road safety if you ride the bicycle, okay? So let's be realistic, okay? We cannot avoid that. Yeah, we cannot avoid. We cannot. Yes. Yeah, this is my last slide.
Okay.
We cannot avoid trying to make a change. Very small change that you can do is, if you are doing errand, combine all the shopping lists. If you are using, going to do a long trip, use cruise control, avoid braking and also acceleration, and use public transport maybe once a week, or car share your vehicle maybe 2 days per week, and definitely use traffic apps to look at the congestion during peak hours, and not to join to increase the traffic congestion on the road. Okay, always look at your traffic apps. And last but not least, in the public transport, safety for during COVID-19. These are the common things, but use if you are right in the same group, always same people, and use fresh air vents or open windows. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Associate Professor Technology Dr. Rafida Mamano. And then we move on to the Associate Professor Dr. Hazli Azil Ilyas with the Living Lab project entitled A Development of a Renewable Energy Harvesting System from Water Flow in Universiti Malaya. This project mainly focused on coming into the second phase of the Living Labs, which this project previously aimed to develop a renewable energy harvesting system from water flow in Universiti Malaya, store the energy derived from water flow in energy storage system, and utilize the energy harvested for useful purposes. So without further ado, please welcome Associate Professor Dr. Hazli Azil. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Azizi, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Assalamualaikum and morning, everyone. So I hope everyone can hear me and also can see my screen. Is my screen available?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you much. Okay, so I'm going to share some simple tips on energy management, especially because during this pandemic, so when the government is implementing the movement control order. Okay, so most of the organizations are opting for work from home, and when electricity bills shoot up, okay, and it is much slightly higher than the normal days when we do not work from home. Okay, but we also get a surprise from TMB, okay, when they issued a 3 months bill. So that add up to a higher electricity bill, but still the high electricity bill is because of we are consuming more energy, okay, because we stay at home. So I'm Hazli Ilyas from Department of Electrical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, University of Malaya. Okay, before I share about tips on how to manage the energy. So there are two types of energy. Okay, one is renewable energy, another one non-renewable energy. So renewable energy are energy that come from sources that can be replenished continuously, such as the solar energy, the wind, hydro, okay, biomass, and also ocean wave. Okay, the most of the existing energy in the world come from combustion of fossil fuel, coal, gas, and so on. Okay, so these are some examples of non-renewable energy. But one day, the supply of this fuel will be gone. Okay, so why do we bother of saving energy? So number one, of course, to save money, okay, to reduce the electricity bill. So this is not just for the household, but also for the industries, academic institution, okay, and everywhere. Okay, so we want to save electricity bill, and then we want to avoid acid rains, avoid ozone layer depletion, reduce global warming, greenhouse effect, and pollution. Okay, because most of our energy, especially in Malaysia, we are still very much dependent on fossil fuel. Okay, we burn the coal, okay, to get electricity. So this burning of the coal, okay, it can produce all of this effect, and also coal is a limited energy resources. Okay, so that's why we need to save energy. It's not just for the money, okay, not just for our money, our pocket money, but also for the environment, okay, and the world. Yeah, there are many tips to save energy, okay, but I've just simplified, okay, so that it's much clearer. Okay, so there are many simple tips to save energy, but we seldom do it. Okay, so some of them are switch off lights and fan and leave the room. Okay, so this is the simplest practice, okay, to save the energy. Okay, but most likely, I think we don't really do this. Okay, especially when we are in the office, when we are in the room. Okay, we seldom switch off our lights or aircon. Okay, when we leave our room. Okay, so to save the energy, the simplest thing to do is switch off the lights and fans. Okay, and the aircon. Okay, and then pull the plug. Okay, pull the plug out is more practical or suitable for the socket which doesn't have the switch. Okay, the built-in switch, or extension lead which doesn't have switch. Okay, so some of the extension lead, okay, do not have individual switch. So if we leave the plug switch on, then the rest of the item which is not consuming any, which is not turned on, will also still consume a small amount of energy. Okay, if you don't pull out the plug, call it as phantom load. Okay, so the load is not there, but it is consuming the load. Okay, so if you are not using the appliances, okay, if the plug doesn't have a switch, okay, so pull out the plug. Okay, and then change to energy saving lights. Okay, so this is very common. Okay, especially change to LED. Okay, or lower or better energy efficiency. Okay, so switch to energy saving appliances, okay, such as a 5-star fridge, 5-star aircon, okay, and so on. So although lower star of equipment are cheaper, okay, but the energy consumed is too high. So at the end, we are paying less to purchase the equipment, but we are paying more for the electricity. So choose 5-star and 5-star appliances. Okay, although we pay more to get the equipment, but we are paying less for the electricity. So in long term, we will be saving more money, okay, compared to buying less star of equipment. Okay, hand dry laundry. Okay, so instead of using a dryer, okay, so we hand dry. Okay, so I think this is in our country we have no problem of drying clothes. So embrace natural lights, okay, so that we can reduce the use of lights during the day, and use less hot water. Okay, so I think we are a hot and humid country, so we don't really need to use a lot of hot water. And use aircon less frequently. Okay, this might sound a little bit difficult, but air conditioner is the highest electricity consumption. Okay, so if we can reduce the usage of aircon, okay, be it in our house or in the office, so we can see a drastic reduction of energy usage. Okay, or if you do not want to use less aircon, so we need to control the temperature carefully. Okay, so don't set the temperature too low. And another tips which is getting more popular nowadays is use renewable energy sources. Okay, so especially a solar panel. So solar panel is one of the item, okay, that can save us a lot of energy. If you are using aircon, okay, very frequently, so using solar panel can actually help to reduce the energy consumption from TNB, okay, or from energy provider. Okay, and keep plants at home. So this is one of the ways to make our homes cooler, okay, so that you don't have to use a lot of aircon. Okay, so that's all from me. So let's save the world together. So we save the energy, we save the world. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Associate Professor Hazli Azil. So now we move on to the last presenter today, which is Dr. Lee Hong Jin with the Living Lab project title, Safe Disposal of Unused Medicine, Safe Dump. So a bit summary of this project. The objective of this project are to educate the public on disposal of expired and unused medication to an appropriate location and not into the sewage system or garbage bins, to encourage the public on minimizing the amount of unused medications at home, encourage the community pharmacies to offer their place as unused and expired medication collection points, and assess the awareness of the Safe Dump campaign among healthcare professionals in Universiti Malaya Medical Center. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Dr. Azizi. Is my screen up? Can you see my screen? Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to, Dr. Azizi, can you see my screen? Screen?
The presentation is not presented. No.
It's not presented.
Give me 1 minute.
Okay, first of all, just like to thank Dr. Azizi for the kind introduction, and also to the organizers for this opportunity of sharing my talk. Or maybe I still want to share my, or how? Yeah, I'll try again to share. Okay. Oh, okay. Can you see my screen now? Okay, so today I would like to
present my little tips on how to handle all the expired medication. Okay. The government actually spent a lot of money to buy medication for general public to for treatment, because Malaysia has one of the best healthcare system, I believe. And medication is always the one important I think used to treat disease and illnesses. Okay. So if a medication is used, it's very good. But if it's not being used, maybe due to not taking it, or not or having it too much at home, or not unable to use due to side effects, or when patient passed away, then it became some waste. Okay? So when it became a waste, it actually caused some hazardous condition, the situation, such as if it linger around the house, it may actually, there are people who are not supposed to take the medication, took the medication, it caused harm to our household members. And if it's not being used, also it's kind of a waste, especially those of us, some of us, most of us got medication for free, or our companies, give sponsor our medication. And once we get the medication but not using it, it actually jeopardizes the chance for others who need the medication from having it. And so what if, let's say, the medication was still hanging around there, not being used, and eventually expired? Then where it goes? It actually it is also a waste, and also if it's not discarded properly, it became some items that may even contaminate our planet. Okay, like so that is what. So actually, at one point, this is our previous Minister of Health actually encouraged people to return all their used medicine back to the healthcare. Okay, so just now you talk about where to throw them appropriately. This news is not. It's just happened not long ago. It's about exactly two months ago. A bunch of expired medication was found in a landfill somewhere in Penang, I think. And so that is something very heartache to see. To see all this medication in this landfill, because all these items eventually there's a chance for these chemicals to eventually seep into the land, through the land and into our water source system, and it cause contamination to the river. And just now the talk, we also heard that we got our water from river, and I think for the last 1 year, our Klang Valley residents has really suffered for having water destruction, occasions. It's due to contamination, or people discard those, illegally to the river. So we think about, if all this medication not being discarded properly, these are the potential chemical eventually slowly seep into the river. And there are studies in Malaysia itself that has detected chemicals, detected medicine in the river water. So it has to be very, you have to do something about it. Okay. This is the place we're not supposed to throw the medication. Okay. There are many types of medication dosage form. Okay. All this needs to be discarded in a proper manner, and this is the only item that we cannot discard through this proper manner, which is called incineration. Okay, because this is a canister can. It goes into incinerator in the meletup. So we encourage people to bring in a medication to healthcare facilities, such as UMSLLS outpatient pharmacy at the counter 25. They actually offer service for people to return all their unused medicine to the counter, okay. And then it just recently, about a month plus ago, we started a mini project just trying out to and Caring Pharmacy is kind enough to offer their service by allowing the general public to return all their household expired medication, and to you can bring it to them, for them to help us discard it safely and properly. And we are now trying in 3 branches. One in Sri Hatamas, one in Bangsa Shopping Mall, and one in Taman Mega. Okay, so anyone who has expired medication, do take the opportunity to bring it to them. Okay, and what we will do, we collect all this expired medication and send for incineration. And this is actually a specific system to destroy or clear scheduled waste. That means scheduled waste is waste that may cause hazardous to the environment. So by sending in through an incinerator, they're actually breaking it down to from a harmful substance to a less harmful substance. Further discard it. Okay, so this is actually the real proper way for discarding the medication. Okay, so when you say why is we so particular had to send it to hospital or even to the pharmacy, medication is a poison. Actually, is governed by a Poison Act. It is an item that you cannot be just lying around or hanging around. It has to be actually under a lock and key. Just like you see this pharmacy, they have all this. You see the pharmacy keep the medicine at the back of their counter with a lock and key. But the pharmacy in PPUM, because all the medication is locked inside, only those people, the people who are able to do the dispensing are able to handle the medication. So that's the reason why. Okay, I think there's so much more to talk about. I think I will just stop here. If there's any question, do bring it up. I will try to my best to answer the best I could. Okay, with that, I thank you. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Marilee. Okay, now since we are quite lagging behind time, so maybe we can open for Q&A session. So is there any question? Please introduce yourself and proceed with your questions. Since there is no question, so I think I would like to invite Professor Sumayan Yusuf to wrap up this session with one final statement to allow the audience to leave with a practical takeaway or conclusions. Please, Prof.
So sorry about that. I'm having some problems with my cursor. Okay, thank you so much to all our speakers who has actually presented, even though the time allocated was very short. I believe that you have had a lot of tips and guidance, and also some good practices that you can take home and also practice at home, and also do it with your family and the community. If there are any further questions, please do not hesitate to actually contact us. And also you can actually at any time not only just visit our Secretariat office in IPPP building at level 6, but you can also contact us through email. And if you want to do sessions, training sessions and so on, we do also conduct them. What you have heard from our 8 presenters are the 8 Living Lab investigators or researchers who are representing the 8 eco-campus blueprint trust areas, covering waste management, energy management, transportation management, and others, including biodiversity, green procurement, education, and also change management. So, we are trying our level best to actually promote these sustainability issues and also these sustainability practices, because I think with the COVID pandemic, it has actually shown us how the spread of the pandemic has demonstrated the fragility of our ecosystem, our lifestyles, and so on. But it is also an opportunity for us to actually transform our consumption pattern, and it has offered a valuable lesson on importance of self-reliance and self-sufficiency. I think our CMCO and all the MCOs periods that we have been experiencing, the lockdowns has provided strategic opportunity for us to plan for sustainable development. And I think the most critical question that we should ask ourselves is how to prioritize our short and long-term goals in light of the current crisis, where we all need to really look back, reflect, and adopt proactive approaches to ensure resource efficiency and ensure healthy well-being, not just to ourselves, but also in conserving the environment. Please practice green and sustainable practices, focus on improving resilience of ourselves, our families, our communities. We need to actually look at wide overhaul of our lifestyle and require actual returns and deliberations from all parties, all tiers of government, individual, academicians, communities. And please remember that the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. So, instead of pointing fingers and trying to, find faults of why the government is doing this, it is not doing enough, why the university is not doing enough, I think we look at ourselves, and try to actually, as much as possible, practice and do good, because each one of us matters. Each one of us has a role to play and make a difference. Each one of us must take responsibility for our own lives, and above all, show respect and love for living things around us, with each other, and love for the environment and our Mother Earth. Remember, we do not inherit this world from our ancestors, but we borrow it from our children and future generation. So please play your role and your part so that we can actually hand over the environment and the world for a better future for our children and the future generation. With that, I thank you so much for your kind attention, for your kind contribution. I'm sure time is a bit short for us to actually share more in depth, but you are free to actually contact us anytime you want, and the researchers too. And if any of the questions are not being able to answer now, we will try as much as possible to email you the answers to the question by the respective presenters. Thank you so much. Take care and be safe, everyone. I hand over back to the Secretariat.
Thank you, Prof. Sumiani, for the conclusion, which is the practically takeaway. And then with that, I also would like to thank everyone, especially for our speakers, our experts, and for all who are attending this special webinar of UMSLLS with our particular team, which is CMCO Sustainability Tips by UM Living Experts. With that, thank you.